You might be wondering, what was JayDeeMC before he's a Minecraft YouTuber? Well, let me tell you about the worst job that I have ever had. And boy, am I glad I don't work there anymore. It was terrible. So, this was after I had been working in my second job. No, sorry, my first job. So, this was my second job after coming back to Canada. So, first job I was working at Science Museum doing planetarium shows and things like that, but it was a contract position, so it was temporary. But then I got a job at a dog hotel slash daycare slash grooming place, and the person that hired me was someone who worked for the same company I did in Japan. The position I was hired for was basically a sales lead position. So I'd be like it's like a front desk supervisory position where I am doing sales. And it was supposed to be me giving tours to potential clients and their dogs and showing them exactly what we offered. So to get me into I was hired over the phone. It was barely even an interview, and so I was hired, and I attended a meeting, and so the only people there were the new staff, as well as the current. I guess you can say they're shift leads, and I was basically getting into a position that was sales oriented, and the shift leads, these were people who were I guess you could say they had taken schooling for things like animal behavior and stuff, so that they understood how to handle dogs. And my position was not for handling dogs, but for sales. And I have to say this explicitly, sales. So, to get me used to the dogs, they put me in with the dogs. And they said that they would do this for about 5 days and then get me trained up for the sales position. There was another person who was hired for the same position, and she was not at that initial meeting, but she was starting a couple days after me. And so they did the same thing with her. They put her in with the dogs, and we were both not exactly enjoying being with the dogs, but it was an interesting experience, I should say. So the way it is set up, they have two big rooms for the dogs. One for the big dogs, one for the small dogs. It's very important that they're separate because big dogs can hurt small dogs. And what I got to experience was both of them, of course. And some small dogs can be nasty. Oh, they can be angry little things. Some of the big dogs were great, especially the boxers. There was this one old female boxer. She was just the sweetest dog. By the way, boxers are hilarious. They're just really funny dogs. But I got to spend some time with the dogs. There was one other male employee, and he'd been there since the place opened. And everyone else was female. So there were about 15 women and 2 guys. And yeah, so the first week came and went, and I felt like it was one of the slowest weeks ever. I was getting to know some of the other staff. One of the leads, she seemed to be pretty knowledgeable about dogs and was pretty nice. Another one I didn't really get to know. The only other guy, he was fine. He seemed to be rather pessimistic at times, but he seemed easy enough for me to get along with. And the manager, she is, well, she was hired by the the district manager. The district manager is the one who hired me, and of course put me in there to be a sales lead. And I guess I should say it's a shift leader. I think that was the position name, a shift leader. The others were more like supervisor for the I guess the training of the dog sitters. I can't remember the title. There was a rover one as well. That was someone who took over when someone needed to go on break, and they also did a lot of running around between the front desk and back into the rooms. And they were, whenever someone was on a break for 15 minutes or half an hour lunch or something, they would fill in for them. And they would bring in the food, the water replacements, any supplies. So they were just running around. And the one that I got to know was pretty good. She was really nice, very, very enthusiastic, friendly. Seemed like a really good person. And the other ones who were in with the dogs, they seemed to mostly be good. So there was an incident where one of the employees was attacked by a dog. She had to go to the hospital because she needed stitches and, of course, a tetanus shot. And the manager expected her back the next day. Yeah, that's right. They expected her back at work the next day. That seems pretty cold, right? Well, let me tell you about this manager. She was the ultimate B word. She was tough on people. If there were any problems, let's say someone needed help with something, like they weren't exactly sure how to do something, she would pretty much tell them, figure it out. If you can't, tough. There was absolutely no training from her. But let me also tell you that she has limited experience with dogs. She's owned a dog in her life, but she has no experience with dogs. She seems to have very little experience handling people, too. She was not a people person. Anytime someone couldn't do something because they hadn't been trained to it, she got angry at them and pretty much brushed them off if they're even asking for help. It's like, no, you just talk with the lead, the supervisor, the trainer. So she wouldn't help anyone. So 1 week after, the other shift lead, which was the position I was being trained for, she was getting her sales training. She'd been there 3 days, and she was getting her sales training. Me? Nope, you go back with the dogs. And I was just wondering, okay, when am I going to get my training? I didn't say anything. I didn't want to push. I didn't want to sound impatient. And another week gone. The other shift lead, she's already doing her job. The job I was supposed to be doing. So I thought, okay, she's been trained. Now it's my turn. Nope, you stay with the dogs. And so we had an incident with one dog that should never have been in there. This is a very aggressive, what was she, a Wheaton Terrier or something? Something like that. Medium-sized dog, put in with small dogs. She was very aggressive. She would always attack the other dogs. And so we had to crate her because she was a danger to the other dogs. And we had crated her for maybe 5 minutes. And the manager came in and said, take her out now. It's not supposed to be in the crate. And we told her, and this is after an attack had happened. And because we had a code, we had walkie-talkies, we had a code to say, and that there's an attack. This dog is very aggressive and attacking other dogs. And that meant everyone else had to come in. Everyone who's available had to come in and get this dog secured in a crate. Well, yeah, minutes later, the manager comes by and says, get that dog out. Not supposed to be in the crate. And we're like, but she was just attacking other dogs. Like, no, she needs to get used to the other dogs. Take her out of the crate. Within minutes, another fight broke out. We put her back in the crate, and we're telling her this dog shouldn't be in here. I said, but she said, but she is too small for the big dogs. And if she attacked one of the big dogs, she would be the one getting torn up by the big dogs. Well, she is going after all these little dogs. Why is she even here? And we were just saying, please, it's so inappropriate for this dog to be in here. She is very aggressive. And we are worried that we are going to be attacked. And she's saying, well, it's your job to control her. So how do you control an incredibly aggressive dog that just absolutely hates other dogs? Is it possible to have the dog be nice and docile? I've never figured out a way to do that. Yeah, so she was upset with us for creating an aggressive dog, saying that doesn't help. Yeah, well, it protects the other dogs. Hello. And like we were just flabbergasted. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like I was absolutely hating this job at the time. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do it. And I was thinking, okay, when am I going to get my training for the job I was hired for? I am supposed to be doing sales, not in with the dogs. I was not hired for this. So in the third week, she pulls me out and says, I don't think you're going to work out with us. And I'm like, I have to wonder why. So she had this talk with me saying, you're not working out. I hope you understand this, and blah, blah, blah. And what I haven't mentioned is how she behaves towards male and female workers. She was incredibly disrespectful to the men. So just the two of us. She treated us very poorly. With the women, she seemed to be much sweeter, much more supportive. But, well, as much as she could be. But her attitude towards the women was better. Except for that one time with that one person. And you could tell she didn't want me there the whole time. In the initial meeting when we were introduced, all the new staff was introduced, she did not seem to care for me one bit. She absolutely did not want me there. And just from how she acted towards the men and how she acted towards the women, she did not want to have any male workers in the place. She wanted everyone to be female. So she was trying to drive me out, force me to quit. And when I wasn't quitting, I'm just patiently waiting for, the training to happen. She just pulled me aside, and even on the paper that she gave me for the reasons for firing me, I guess you can say, my position on there was rover. And I was thinking, excuse me? I was never a rover. I was not hired to be a rover. I was hired to be one of your sales staff. But you have not done anything to train me for this. I even went through all of the training videos, all of the training materials, everything at home, not being paid for it. And she didn't seem to care, not one bit. She was just terrible at her job, quite frankly. She was really bad at the manager job. She's not a people person. She's not even a dog person. She was more concerned about getting more clients and not concerned about the safety of the dogs. There were too many dogs per room. She's even trying to get aggressive dogs in there, and she didn't care that they were aggressive. They said, "Oh, you'll just take care of it." Like, no, aggressive dogs shouldn't be in here. They should be banned. If I was running the place, I would have banned that dog. The dog that attacked the other person I worked with in the other room, the big dog, guess what? That dog was back. And my coworker refused to be in that room with the big dogs again. And the place was just full of violations. It was full of dangerous situations. It was a disaster waiting to happen. And I am so glad I got out of there. I actually returned to a job that I held before I went to Japan, which is a market research job. I did that for a couple of years, unfortunately. I hated the job. But once I got my current job, I was out of there. I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I wasn't getting hours because the way the way market research was going, it was shifting away from telephone calls to internet. So there was very little work to do anyways. So even with my current job, I was renewed for my current job. It's a contract position, but I've been doing it since 2019. And they're actually reducing the number of workers because a lot of the work is being taken over by AI. And I've talked about this before, and I think it's a really crappy way of doing business. Even some of the students are saying, I don't want to deal with AI. I want a real person. And their university is contracted with the AI version. And they're like, I don't want to do this. I want to have a real person look at this because the AI is making so many mistakes and it's not working correctly. And one person even went on to the tutoring system, in which you actually speak directly with a live person. They just asked, are there any real people still? Are there any real people left there? And they said, yeah, I'm a real person. And they said, I'm glad to hear it. I just wanted to find out. I don't need any tutoring right now. I just wanted to know if there were actual real people were still working there. And that's it. There are people who are upset about that, understandably. But yeah. So I guess you can say that currently the job that I like the most is doing the YouTube thing. It's the most difficult to do, but I find it the most satisfying. Being able to use my own skills to create something that I like, and to help people. And I can do it anytime I want. So yeah, this is definitely it's not an easy job, but it's better than a lot of things that I have done before. The only problem with doing YouTube is it's not the most stable. It is far more difficult to maintain the views, which is very important for income. So yeah. But anyways, that was the story of my experience doing the dog hotel job thing. Never again. Absolutely not. Never going to do that again. Oh yeah, I left a review on Glassdoor. No response to it, but yeah, I don't think they ever would. The place is no longer the same place, so it's got different ownership and everything. But anyways, let me know about your worst job ever, and did you move on from it, or do you still work there? Let me know in the comments below. If you like videos like this and would like to see some more, then please consider subscribing to this channel as well as my main one. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.